So much for the sanctity of Jesus. Hello everybody, David Schuster here. For this year's White House celebration of Easter, the Trump team is soliciting corporate cash. CNN, this is not your grandmother's Easter egg roll. White House seeks corporate sponsorships for Easter event. As the White House pitch document notes, the starting price, the silver sponsorship package, is $75,000. The platinum sponsorship is $200,000.
The concept of White House ethics seems to have been completely swept away by this administration. I guess the problem here is that companies are paying for access to a White House event and even to officials and potentially the First Lady, according to our reporting. That seems to be a pathway to corruption.
Of course, the best take on all of this comes from the must-read The News. Why is Trump doing this? Well, the Bible tells us that Judas Iscariot sold out Jesus for 30 pieces of silver because Judas didn't know how to deal. But with Trump in the White House, the days of Jesus getting sold for chump change are over. Trump isn't about to get ripped off the way Jesus was. This Easter, America's president won't let Jesus be a sucker once more. America's finally going to get top dollar for selling out Jesus. For what shall it profit a man if he doesn't make a profit? While Trump profits from the Easter celebration, the lucky sponsors get naming rights for key areas or elements, sponsor logos featured on event signage, and custom branded baskets, snacks, beverages, or souvenirs. In other words, Trump's lucky sponsors can get their actual logos slapped on White House Easter crap to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus.
I think it's of a piece with the trade policy and all those things. He likes systems where your business deals are improved if you get a seat next to him at a dinner, that kind of thing. I think what we need to do is take the era of online sports gambling and Easter egg rolls and combine them. We can now.
You want to actually bet on the children.
I want to bet on the children.
I knew that was
races,
where this was going.
While conservative Jonah Goldberg was being sarcastic, of course, one imagines Donald Trump or somebody in his family saying, "That's a great idea. Put it down for the planning of Easter in 2026. Plus, online gambling companies are huge." But back to 2025. If Donald Trump's Christian supporters had any integrity, they would condemn and criticize the commercialization of a day that celebrates or is supposed to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. And for the record, Easter was a pagan ritual about the god of fertility, hence bunny rabbits and eggs. None of this Easter stuff is in the Bible. Still, there is no reason to expect Donald Trump to ascribe any sanctity to Easter. He has publicly questioned Jesus' commandment to love your enemies. In fact, most biblical teachings are a foreign concept to Donald Trump. A lot of Trump Christian supporters are also far removed from the Bible, and that's because they have been selling out their religious faith for 10 years to their Messiah, Donald Trump. Just rarely so cheaply. In any case, now that the Trump White House has defined an Easter celebration with some numbers, $75,000 here, $200,000 there, here are a few more Trump numbers to keep in mind in general. 64 times mentioned in the Epstein report. 97 times Trump has pleaded the fifth. 91 criminal charges. 34 felony convictions. 26 sexual assault allegations. 6 bankruptcies. 5 military draft deferments, 4 criminal indictments, 2 impeachments, 1 fake university shutdown, 1 fake charity shutdown, $25 million fraud settlement, $5 million sexual abuse verdict, $2 million fake charity abuse judgment, $93 million sexual abuse judgment, $400 million fraud judgment. First president in history to serve a full term and increase the deficit every year in office. First president in history to maintain a debt to gross domestic product ratio over 100% for an entire term. Most new unemployment claims, largest single-day point drop in the history of the Dow, longest government shutdown in history, and Trump did that while his own party controlled both chambers in Congress. First president to be impeached twice, first president to have a mugshot, and first president in the 147-year history of the White House Easter egg roll to commercialize it and turn it into a for-profit event. Remarkable. In the good old days, the White House Easter egg roll only changed with technology.
The first official White House egg roll occurred here in 1878 when President Rutherford Hayes was living in the White House. Now, a lot of things have changed since then. Today that you need to know is that for the very first time, hundreds of thousands of young people will be experiencing the White House egg roll through the internet.
Now, thanks to Trump, a lot of kids will only get tickets if their rich parents, associated with a corporation or right-wing cause, pony up hundreds of thousands of dollars. So gross and so crass. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.